Hey guys, I had some people asking me about guitars I build, so I just thought I'd do a video like this. This was actually a guitar that I ran out of money building while I had my shop, and I ended up building this is a Telecaster body, and it actually is a 7-string, and I still have to get 7-string pickups for it, so I ran out of money doing that. And I did a faux carbon fiber back end on it, and golded out all the parts and stuff. So I got to still find pickups for it, and then I need to get some locking tuners for it as well. That's a guitar I'm building. It has a pressed. This is kind of like a cardboard style pick guard, and it makes it look like it's got a leather pick guard, but it doesn't. Obviously, I'm vegan. And it's got a maple top, and then I put a tortoise shell binding, kind of a brown tortoise shell binding on it. So it's kind of cool. But today I've got to tear this guitar down. This Eddie Van Halen guitar is actually a piece of wood broke on it right here. So I've got to yank it apart. So I figured while I was talking about stuff today, I would go ahead and do that. So I watched a video of a guy, and obviously TYT, as they are, decided that it was some kind of a man thing, you know, and they don't seem to see the hypocrisy in what they're doing. Women are always saying things like, we have to teach men how not to rape, but we don't have to teach women how not to rape, because science shows that women are the ones that rape the most. Women are also the ones that typically are the ones that do the most abuse through the husband and boyfriends. Happens way more than women do it. So they never like to point those things out. They always try to make it look like guys are the bad people, and you know, everything that men do are bad and wrong, and we should just accuse all men of rape, you know. And this is the reason why they have to have these classes, is because rape is, we're to a point now where rape is, it's so convoluted, it doesn't mean what it used to mean anymore. And because of that, you have to teach people what rape is now, because nobody can figure it out for themselves, because the definition is so sloppy. And that's why females have to have these classes to tell men who know they aren't rapists. You know, there's many men out there who will tell you they've never raped a woman in their life, they would never want to rape a woman in their life, you know, even gay men, things like that. Well, they have these mandatory classes now where guys have to go through when they come into college. They have these classes where men have to actually take these rape classes, because they want to redefine the definition of rape, and they don't understand how stupid they sound and how dumb their new definition of rape is. They think it's perfectly perfectly plausible to have this really, really stupid definition. They think it's perfectly plausible to have this really stupid definition of rape. And I myself have been raped by women in the past. And I can tell you that rape is when somebody decides to take your dick, get it hard, and stick it in their pussy when you don't want them to. That's rape. And they have this idea now that rape isn't that. And that's why they have to explain to you what rape really is, because you wouldn't know if they didn't tell you. Because rape now is like that stupid little video that was put out where the girl talked about her father beating her mother, and because the father beat the mother, she was raped. And the brother looked at her best friend's butt, or her butt, whichever the case was, and that makes her raped, you know? So they have these almost childish, moronic ideas of what it means to be raped. And they're so, like I was talking about the other day with the peanut, they're so enamored with that fucking peanut that they just won't let that fucking thing go for nothing. And they really want to keep a hold of that damn peanut, because letting it go would mean maybe they've been wrong. You know, maybe they've actually done something wrong and they might have to say they're sorry, you know? And that's something you'll never hear a woman do. A woman will never say she's sorry, you know, unless she has some ulterior motive and plan for what she's trying to accomplish by saying that. You know, they never just say that kind of stuff. They say it because they have a reason, and their reason is, you've done something wrong and I'm going to make you think they've got the definition of rape so muddled and so incomprehensible that basically they want to make it to the point where men, everything you do, doesn't matter what it is, if you do something to a woman, about a woman, for a woman, anything that it pertains to a woman, then you're a misogynist, and they can call it rape, you know. And by doing this, they're taking the real struggle, the real pain, the real problems that happens from real rape, and turning it into a mockery, and making it to where it's almost a laughing matter now, you know. And it's really sad that they don't see what they're doing to real women, because if most of these women that have never even experienced real rape ever went through rape, then they would change their tune on what rape was. Now the problem that you have with these women is most of them have never had anything in their life that's been a problem. You know, they've never had like real hardship, and because of this, they have a hard time being a victim, because that's what feminists want. They want to be victims, and they want to have something to show that they're a victim, and they need to be saved by their white knight manginas. So if they can't, if they really have always been silver spoon fed rich feminists, which is usually what they are, they don't know what hardship is, and they don't know what regular people go through. So they think, I'll make something up and to be a victim. So maybe they've never actually been raped, but they can say they felt like they were raped because of something happening, you know, because somebody looked at their ass. Now all of a sudden they feel like they were raped because somebody looked at their ass, or somebody told them they were cute, or somebody told them they were sexy, and they use that as a sounding board to say, I felt threatened because somebody told me I was cute. You know, this is the moronic nonsense that these people, that these women get into. It's almost like mental gymnastics of how they can figure that a man is raping them by not actually, maybe even not even physically touching them, you know, not even touching them. Like now they're saying that virtual harassment is just as bad, if not worse, than physical harassment. So bullying somebody on the internet is as bad as bullying somebody in real life. And they're doing this because they want to be able to, the problem that they have is they can't win on the internet, you know. It's not unfair leaning to them, because see, if you get involved with these people in a normal debate, they pull out all these fake facts, and you can shoot them down all you want, but they're only talking with you, you know, and maybe some people that are in the room, so they can shoot everybody down and make everybody feel like they're a victim. But when they get on the internet and they try to pull that shit, there's thousands of people that will get on and point out all the facts that are wrong about what they're saying. So what they want to do is they want to legislate that to where if you do that, you're doing hate speech, and you can have your channels shut off. You can have your YouTube channel shut off. You can have your Facebook channel shut off. And then that allows them a free space to say any hateful, man-hating lies that they want, and spread a lot of bullshit conjecture that has no basis in facts, that have studies that have been done that are partial to the women, that are not done in a scientific way. They're done with a beginning premise, and then they try to find the facts that point to the premise instead of finding the facts. So they can't see how what they're doing is actually harmful to women. It's not helping women in any way. And they're actually going to cause more problems for themselves in the end, because as men start to step away and not want to have anything to do with them, the more they push to make men vilified and make men feel like they're misogynistic and they're chauvinistic and all these things, the more they do that, they're actually alienating themselves, because men are just going to stop dealing with them altogether. They won't even want to have sex with them. You know, they might in high school, unless their dad is smart enough to tell them not to. But typically what's going to happen in the future is most of these poor kids are going to be raised with no father. The women are going to have to go to sperm banks. And eventually they're going to get to the point where men won't go to sperm banks, because they'll come up with, I believe that someday they'll come up with some kind of a law that allows women to make a man who is donated sperm pay for children that they've had, even though they don't know the father. They just picked him out of a random thing, and now you're on the hook for paying for this child. And I think that'll eventually come to a point where men will stop giving their sperm, and then these women will stop being able to procreate. And I think even then, they'll still start trying to push for laws that force men into relationships and force men into trying to make that happen, you know. And I think it's all just going to backfire on them. But you know, that's how I see it, anyways. Let's see. Tomorrow, I'm doing a live Google Hangout. It's the first episode of the MGTOW Roundtable. You can come on and talk about anything you want. I'm gonna do it through Google Hangouts, and I'm gonna live stream it to the YouTube, so you can watch it on YouTube. You can post in the comments or in the chat and ask questions if you want, or you can go to the MGTOW Roundtable Facebook page and you can ask questions there. You can leave videos there of things you want us to see or things you want us to talk about, and you can also leave them in the description below. Leave them in the comments below, and if you want us to discuss anything, or if you want to make some points that you might want us to talk about, you can leave those in the description below. So like I was saying, this kid was told to go to a rape class, and on TYT, obviously, the feminist women wanted to not see that this boy has nothing to do with rape, doesn't want to have anything to do with rape. Maybe he doesn't even want to have anything to do with a woman, you know. Maybe he's asexual, you know. Maybe he doesn't want to have anything to do with anybody. He's just in school trying to do his schoolwork and graduate. And they have it in their mind that all men are bad, all men are rapists, and men have to be taught not to rape. That's what they think, you know, that all men need to be taught how not to rape. And the bad thing about that is they're trying to say that all men rape. And under their new definitions, all men do rape, because their definition isn't penetration. Their definition is ogling somebody, or doing something not even physical. Maybe you don't even know the person, and just doing something about that person, you know, not even to the person. As they like to say, objectifying somebody, you know. You're using them as an object. Well, that's rape, you know. That's their definition now. It's not actually penetration, and that's why they want to have these classes, because the definition is so muddled that they have to explain to you what it means to be raped, because you are under the impression that it's me forcing myself upon you and forcing my penis inside you without you wanting that to happen. Like one of the ones that I like to point out, that a lot of people have pointed out, is they always talk about how if a woman has a couple of drinks, she can't give consent. And they say women, and then when you point out, yeah, but what about a guy? You know, what if a guy's drunk and a woman has sex with him? Oh yeah, it's the same, yeah. You know, we're just like in the trans and the LGBT community, the men are an afterthought. You know, they're like, oh yeah, it's the same with men. Yeah, sure, but it's not. It's not the same with men. Yeah, what they'll have you believe is that women can't give consent if they've had a few drinks,
If you have sex with a woman who's drunk, she can tomorrow morning come back and say that she was drunk and she was raped, and she can do that if she just feels like what happens a lot is like a guy won't call her back, or a guy won't maybe treat her the way she thinks she should be treated. So she gets upset and then she says, well, he raped me, you know. And the thing is that doesn't work anywhere else in the world. Anywhere else in this is how they don't understand what they're saying, because this doesn't work in any other law. If you're driving your vehicle and you're under the influence of alcohol and you hurt somebody, or you run off the road and smash your car, do you get to go into court and say, oh, sorry, officer, I was drunk, I didn't know what I was doing? And they say, oh, well, that's all right, you're fine then, you can go home. No, of course not. If you get drunk and you kill somebody, you shoot somebody with a gun, do they say, oh, you were drinking, so yeah, you weren't in your right mind, so yeah, you're fine, go home? No, of course not. The only people who get to do that are women who are raped, who they say are raped. And these are just women who've made a mistake. Maybe they went home with somebody with beer goggles, and the next morning they don't like who they slept with, and then they say they were raped. You know? So there's something else I seen that was kind of funny. I think it was TJ, the Amazing Atheist, that was talking about it, where I think it was him, I don't remember who it was, but they were saying that there was like over almost 3,000 rapes were I think it was TYT, almost 3,000 rapes were reported in the military, in the United States military, and only 298 were actually like they were convicted of it. The rest of them were just what, you know. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of women now with this murky definition of what rape is that will claim that they were raped, but it's only a he said she said thing, and they can say, well, you can't blame the victim. Well, can you? Can you not blame the victim? What if the victim was just they had like 2 or 3 drinks, and then they went home with a guy and slept with him, and then the next morning they decided they wish they wouldn't have slept with him, and then they claim rape. Is that not their fault? You know, they made a mistake. They made a problem that didn't really need to be a problem. You know, a lot of guys are in jail for that. So that's what I thought I'd talk about today, is this stupid shit that TYT had said, which is, you know, par for the course every day with TYT. They're becoming more and more like mainstream. It seems like they're trying to go on TV or something, the way they're starting to act. They have feminists that are just, you know, I mean, what can you say? Anybody that's watched them knows what I'm talking about. So that's what I thought I'd talk about today. Thanks for watching. Share, like, and subscribe, and leave your comments and questions in the section below. If you guys want to come on tomorrow, you'll end up on my page. You can get logged in to the Google Hangout. I'll be live streaming to YouTube, so you can be on the live Hangout, or if you don't want to do that, you can go to the Facebook page, which is MGTOW Roundtable. It's in the description below. You can go to the Hangout, or you can do this video underneath, and you can leave questions or things you want us to discuss, and if we can't get to them this week, we'll continue on next week or the week after that or whatever. This is just going to be the first episode, and we're going to make this I'm going to make this a weekly thing. So, yeah, thanks for watching.